friends. NanaKaye here with NanaKayeDesigns.com and the Altered Book Nook on Etsy. We are going to do a fun little project today. I hope it's fun. Anyway, it's exciting to me. I have to give credit to Kate Mower, who is somebody I just discovered, and she does total junk journals. She doesn't do kits like we did, but I've kind of taken one of her designs and put my own inspiration to it and changed it up. And so here's what we have. Let me show you what I have. I have a pocket flip here. And this pocket flip is unique in the fact that it's got a lot of journaling space in here. These are journals, and the normal thing to do with a journal is what? Write things. So that's how this is. So let me show you what we're going to create today. I've already done one. Now, you know I have 3 signatures for each of the 2 books I'm working on, but I've already done one using the signature we've been working on in the Sunny Sunflower Days journal, and this is a still signature 1. I am going to do the same project with different twists in journal signatures 2 and 3 on both journals. So here's how this one worked. I used just a heavy cardstock as my base. It's got to have some form to it because I use it on my, coffee stained paper. My brain doesn't want to function this morning, so if I get stalled, I'm just attributing it to old age. My brain has to slow down so I can think, so just bear with me. Yes, guys, I'm nearly 70 years old, but I love what I do. And in my younger days, I couldn't do this. I had kids. But anyway, here we go. We did it on the coffee stained paper, and I formed a heavy cardstock base. I printed my own on this one. On the Christmas one, I actually decided I wanted to use up some of my card that I have. Oh my goodness, I have a mobile home that's a 12 by 60, and it is stocked floor to ceiling with supplies, and I've got lots and lots of paper. I used to buy paper from Michael's like this, and they don't have as much selection as they used to, so I have slowed down, but I just haven't, since I started printing my own papers, I just haven't used a lot. So for the Christmas one, I'm going to pull out a 12 by 12 piece and use it. So know that you don't have to have my printed pages like you're going to see some of the ones I use. You can go get some of your Christmas paper that matches the card theme. Mine is the basic traditional green, red, gold, so that's what I pulled. Okay, so that was my background base. Then I pulled 2 envelopes. I choose 2 envelopes, so you'll need 2 envelopes, and I am using my own printed lined paper. But you can get any kind of lined paper, even if it's just torn out of a book like this. You'll need some lined paper to journal on. Okay, so here's how it worked. When you look at this first, right over here on this little corner, you can just barely see a little thumb notch. I put a little teeny one. And this is where I have a V. This envelope was a V shape, and I just glued it down on the paper there. Didn't have a lot of space between it, so I've got just a small piece of my journaling paper here that I folded up, and it's lined. I made it into the lined paper, folded it up, and I stuck that inside that little tuck spot right there. So that's almost a little hidden piece of paper in there, okay? Not a lot of space, so it had to be something small. Then, on the front here, you pull this tag off, which actually has writing space on the back, and I got this little tuck spot right here made out of just some kind of label that says Think Positive. Let me move it up because my name's in the way. That says Think Positive. When you pull that up, then you can open the flap. You got writing space here, and I covered my envelope with my own kit papers. And we're probably going to do the same thing when we do the Christmas one because I don't like the solid white envelope. But anyway, with my kit papers, I started covering. And I had designed my own lined paper for this. And then I stuck 2 tags in. And guess what? They got writing space on the back. This is a new set of tags that I'm working on for this journal. It will be an add-on. If you've already purchased the kit, you can email me and tell me you want these add-ons, and I'll add them on because I've made more cards. I just wanted a little bit more variety than what I had. Okay, so but they got the line space on the back, and they're lightweight. I didn't do anything but print them on one time on the 110. And then I put the regular paper, which is just a regular printed paper, really lightweight copy paper. Really lightweight copy paper is what I printed my lines on because we're trying to keep bulk out. So the thinner the paper, the better. And then on the inside of this envelope, I lined it with one of my journal pages, like this, that I have printed a design on. Just one of my old pages because I've made up my mind I'm going to use up a bunch of those. And that's a printed design on top of this paper. This is, a journal, so old books is something we use a lot of. And I actually, in order to cover my envelope as well as I wanted to, I actually slit the sides and opened my envelope up first. But we'll go over that in the tutorial. But anyway, that's one of your spots that you got a lot of journaling space in. This is what's so unique about it. And then when you put this back, that locks it down so it doesn't flip up. Then you notice here you got a little pull tag, and where you put the two envelopes together, you have a pocket here. And then I made a journal card. Again, this is one of the new journal cards that's going into my add-on kit, so don't forget to ask for it. And the inside of this, I didn't line. It was already a yellow envelope, so it was pretty. It matched real well, so that stayed the same. Then when I flipped it all the way over to the other side of the envelope, I have also got a journaling space here with another piece that I just folded 3 times, put it in there. Lots of journaling space there. And I didn't do major decorating on the envelope in here because I wanted people to know it's an envelope. And so I just did a little bit of one of my fussy cuts on that. And then underneath, I put another one of the new cards here, and I just glued the 3 sides, made a pocket, and stuck a couple of tags in there. So that's how that worked. Now I got one more hidden spot. I glued this down to my paper and only glued 3 sides, and I have a journaling spot right there with a larger tag. So that's what we're going to make today, but we're going to do it for the Christmas journal. And like I said, I'm probably going to do 2 more videos, and we're going to do similar things like this to go into all 3. It'll be all 3 of the sunny summer days and all 3 of the 'tis the seasons. Now, I will note that I have added lace to the front page of both my journals, but both of my journal signatures. I've added lace. I did this for a purpose. This has a specific purpose here, and that is, as this is bulking out, as you're adding things to your signatures, that starts bulking out. And of course, when I sew it, I will lose a little bit of the bulk that you see, but you start getting these center pieces kind of sticking out. For me, I just am strange. I don't like the way that looks aesthetically. So by adding the lace on the top, you really don't see where it's bulking out on your journal. So it adds a little bit of a frilly, pretty, prissy look to it. But at the same time, the purpose is so that you're keeping, when your journal is laying flat with the things down, you're keeping a real nice looking edge here. So I've added lace on both of these to help with the bulk. This one's not bulking out quite as bad yet, but it will. And it just turned out really pretty to me. Okay? Now, so I'm going to set this one aside. We're going to work on 'tis the season to do this project. And I hope I can remember it, but we're going to try. The first thing was, like I said, I'm going to use this and lay everything else off to my right. And this is where you'll see me grabbing things off to my right. These envelopes feel like they got something in them. And they probably do. Okay, and I know that this was from my baby shower. Okay, I have different size envelopes I can use. But I think I decided, let me make sure I'm grabbing the right envelopes. I think I decided I wanted these larger ones. I don't know. I might not. Let me think. Give me just a second, y'all. Because if I'm going to do a pull from here, I think I'm going to use these long, skinny ones. I sure like this size right here. Of course, I can always cut a little bit off of it if I wanted to. If I lay this down, I still got enough room to pull from here. Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna go with the ones I want. I want these big ones. So I'm getting this size. You guys get whatever size you want. You can even if you got envelopes this size, you can cut these down to the size you need. You'll figure it out. But this is the size we're gonna use. So I'm gonna set them aside and get everything else out of the way. Okay, so you'll need a big piece of cardstock that's going to be cut, and it will be cut 8.5 by 11. So if you've already got a printed piece from your kits that's 8.5 by 11, you can use that. But I'm going to cut this one. You will need 2 envelopes I just showed you, and then of course you're going to need tags, journal cards. You'll need one kind of a label or something that we can thicken up and make a tuck spot. So get those kind of supplies together. And also make sure you pull out your notebook paper or whatever you want as line print. And let me give you one more tip. If you're using the 8.5 by 11 notebook paper, you can also run that through your computer and print any of the background sheets that I have or in the kit, or you can print from something else that you have, but you can print a design onto your notebook paper, and it'll come out looking very similar to what I have here, because that's what I have is notebook paper lines that I use, and I just printed it on one of my background sheets. So that's what I've ended up with. That's my line paper, and I print it front and back. Everybody's not able to print front and back, but my computer, my printer will let me do that. All right, so let's get started. Let me quit rambling on. I've already sat here 12 minutes and rambled on. So we need to put this one aside. We're not going to use it. We're going to use, and y'all, I have really got myself all close by hopefully now, except I don't know what I've done with my little stamper, so I'm going to have to pull another pad. If I can find what I did with my pad, you see, oh, there you go. I already see that I don't know where my ink pad is. Give me just a second. Let me turn around and look. All right, give me just a second. Oh, there it is, way up there. Okay. I knew I had it somewhere. I'm going to show you guys the setup my husband speaks for me. I've got desks in a complete U shape all the way around me. So I've got stuff on my left and stuff on my right that I can reach. My camera's on the roof overhead. I'm using the Logi capture so I can focus in and out and down. And around that, over here on this left side here, I have a 3-shelf bookshelf, and that's got my glues and ink pads on it. So I am set up to go here. I can sit here and craft and also video at the same time, and hopefully not be quite as unorganized as I have been in the past. I even got my computer right here on my left. Right here on this left is my whole computer setup. All right, let's set this beautiful piece aside. We are going to put this piece, I think I decided to put it in the back, on this side, in the back of this book. All right, so that's the side I'm going to work with. So I'm going to lay that up there. I'm going to lay it over here. I don't want to get into stuff on it. First thing I'm going to do is grab my ruler. I think I'm going to use my red one. It doesn't seem to slip as bad. And I'm going to get up here and I'm going to try to cut this down 8.5 by 11. Because this is a 12 by 12, so 8.5 is going to be right about there. And of course 11 is just going to be 1 inch off this side. So I think I'm going to take, well, maybe I need to use my longer ruler. I'm going to take the 1 inch off this side here first. And grab my little knifey thing here. And I hope it's still sharp. You know what? I'm going to go Y'all bear with me just a second. I'm going to do something I shouldn't be probably doing on camera in case it flies, but I'm going to, well, I say I'm going to pop my blade. My husband usually does this for me. But I need to, there we go, pop off that edge. Now, guys, when you pop off your edges, I myself don't handle my own trash. So those little things, even though they're dull from my paper, are very sharp. This is what I do to protect my husband in case he rams his hand down into my trash can. I throw my piece here, and I wrap it up really tight in a napkin. And it can still stick through that napkin, but it's still a better little, he's not as likely to go trying to bother this napkin. So I'm just going to stick a little glue in it just to kind of seal it. I know that seems a little bit odd, but my husband and my kids are my world, and I wouldn't want to do anything to harm them. And then I also, if this got put in a trash dump somewhere, I really wouldn't want somebody to ram their hands on it. So people with COVID and all aren't likely to go sitting here undoing a piece of Kleenex. So that's what I do. That's just me, little quirk, but I do that to protect those who might come behind me and have to handle these blades. Okay, now hopefully we got a nice sharp blade. Let's get back to what we were doing. And guys, I'm sorry, I just want to give y'all little tips because a lot of things I've learned, I have just learned over the years. I've been a graphic artist for many, many, many years. I was a graphic artist for a newspaper for years. I was the graphics art supervisor for the local newspaper for a long time. That's where I learned a lot of my little tricks. I'm going to save it, even though I kind of accidentally cut into this a little. I'm still going to save it, okay? All right, so we are 11 now. We should be. I am not believing that. Oh, this thing is, I'm going to have to turn my map wrong because this is, yeah, it's over on this side, but it should be 11. So it is 11 now that way. So we want 8.5 this way. So we're going to come right up here on this edge where the numbers are. And we're going to go 8.5. So it's right there. Now look, if my head gets in, you have to just excuse me because I still sometimes have to stick my head in so that I can actually see what I'm doing. And I really want to make sure my 8.5 is on a line. So I'm going to bring it up a 1/2 inch here. Just bear with me. I'm bringing it up a 1/2 inch off this end. It shouldn't be this complicated, Karen. All right. I'm thinking that's about my 8.5 inch mark. Yes, it is. That's right where it should have been. Should have, could have, would have. Close enough anyway. Keep your fingers out of the way of that blade. It does not know the difference between that paper and your fingers, so, and it doesn't care. So watch the fingers when you're cutting. Okay, so we cut the strip off. We're going to save this. I'm sure we can use it for a tuck spot or something to save the papers. We should be approximately 8.5 by 11. And we are. And we are. Okay, so next step. You've got your piece of paper that's about the size of a U.S. standard letter size paper. The first step we're going to do with this is fold it in half. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip here too. We're not going to do it, but it's a tip. If you want to, strictly if you want to, this is not double-sided paper, but if you want to, first of all, before you fold this, you can run this through your printer. And you can put a line piece on it, like this, or anything else. And look at that. So it's something ain't right. guys, I'm gonna have to cut a little bit more off this. Because this is a 8.5 by 11, I think. So we've got, I don't know, well, I don't know what happened, but we're going to have to cut a little bit more off, and I'm going to. Maybe I didn't do it. Got to cut another inch off anyway. Please forgive me. But what you can do, once you get it the size you need it, you can actually run this through your printer before you fold it. Because it is single side, I mean, it is the single printed side. But you can take this piece here, and if you want to use it as one of your pages, you can actually, once you get it decorated, slip it between your pages like this, and then you can decorate this side, this side, this side, and this side with something, and then slide it in. I got all the pages I want, so all I'm looking for is just a glued insert. I don't want anything more than that. So the way I'm going to utilize this is I'm actually going to cut this in half again. So I'm going to go to the halfway mark where I folded it. And if it's not perfectly in half, it's not a big deal. We just don't need all of it for the project that we're going to insert into our journal. So I'm going to go with this, like this. Okay, now, again, I don't need it this large because I'm going to need some space on, wait a minute, we're going to put it on this back side over here, so let's do it the right way. I'm going to need some space here because I'm going to have, when I glue this down, I'm going to have a tuck spot underneath there for a pocket. So we're going to need to cut off a little bit more of this. Also, we're using, let me grab on my envelope so we can measure to make sure that we don't cut too much off. We need our envelope to still come in here. So we got plenty of space here. And I want this to come right along that edge, so I'm going to slide it down a little and look at it. And I want, I'm not getting my head in, I want to cut it right there. There's my little pencil mark. Put this back aside again. Put this down. I'll line it up across this bottom so that I can actually put my line right on that line. It just makes it easier for me to cut if it's on these lines. The little dotted lines, I can cut on them too, but it's just a lot easier to cut it this way. So this is the size I need it to make it the insert that I'm going to drop into my book. And I'm going to save that for something. I don't know what, but I'll just make some of these. Okay, so there's the piece we're going to start with. It's a nice, sturdy, heavy piece. We're not going to decorate the back so the white doesn't matter. Next step, your two envelopes. We're going to glue them face to face, leaving your flaps out. Leave your flaps out and glue your envelope, okay? We want this to be a pocket, this back side to be a pocket. So we're only going to glue here, here, and here. Okay? Now, got another option here. You can actually make, all right, this is going to wrap. This particular flap is going to wrap around the back, so we're not going to worry about it. Okay, that flap's going to wrap around the back. This flap's going to stay shut, and we're going to put something there like we did on the other one. But you actually, if you wanted to, if you just wanted to put some kind of a writing paper in, we can actually glue here and here, and then right down the center here. And then you'll have a pocket on this side, a pocket on this side, which is what I think I'm going to do. I said we were going to do a little twist each time we've done one, so that's the twist we're going to do. Don't know how it's going to turn out, but before I do that, I guess I need to decorate my envelope. I got to think about this. do I want the inside white? Because see, my other one was yellow. It didn't matter. So if I'm gluing that down, the inside part's not going to matter. And this is straight, so that's not going to... Okay, we don't need it. We can go ahead and glue. Let's go ahead and glue these. Let's go ahead and get started on this project. This video may be a little bit long because until I get real versed in what I'm doing. All right, remember, we're only going to glue here and here because we're going to make this a double pocket here. And then we're just going to kind of make a pretense of going down the center. Let me see. This would be the center right here. So we're going to do a glue line as straight as we possibly can, making that next line right there my goal. So now I'm going to have a pocket on each side. I'm going to carefully put these two together, try to line them up. I'm going to pat them like this. Okay, just kind of pat them. Okay, and of course you know what's next. Just my little smoothing tool. Okay, so there we got it. We've got pocket here for writing papers or whatever, card, paper, whatever we're going to put there, and a pocket here. Same thing. Remember, it's a journal, so we will be able to do some writing. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to decorate these envelopes front and back. So next thing I'm going to do, don't panic, don't have a heart attack. I'm actually going to open these envelopes so that I can flip them open and decorate these pages. I may not even have to do that with this one. The other one had this real big V, so I may not have to do that on this. I may can just do it that way. You can. Alright, so what we're going to do is pick out some decorative paper. Let me slide over here a second and grab my pouch here. It's got all my paper, extra papers I've printed on here. I need to open my other one as my guide. This is my template, so I better open it up so I can make sure I'm not messing us all up. I'll find it though. There it is. Okay. I didn't do that one. This is going to flip out. We're doing the opposite direction this time. Okay, so I think I'm going to pull my page out here. Oh, this is where it's going to flip around, right here. Alright, so we want it to flip around. Now you got to decide, do you want it low, high, or in the middle? And on this one, I think I'm going to just make it, so the one on the prior page, I think I'm going to kind of move it to the top, and maybe we'll do some little decoration down here. So this is where I'm going to glue it. So that's my next step. Pull this off, and I always do extra gluing here. And like I say, this is going on the back, so that's all the purpose this flat right here has, is to attach. So you can go ahead and glue them all the way down, right here. And like I said, we were going to do a little bit to the top, make sure it'll fold over nicely without messing up your fold. There we go. Okay. Alright, so it opens perfectly. Okay. Pocket is ready. Pocket is ready. Flap is down. When you open that, you're going to have a pocket here. Okay. We're good there. Alright, so now let's decide what we're going to put on this. Do we want Santa to be our first thing or not? He's kind of cute, isn't he? Kind of handsome. Or a Christmas stocking. Or a stack of books. I like the stocking here. I'll go through the holly. Okay, let's cut some of these in half. I think we can work better once we break them down a little. So I'm going to just slice them. They don't have to be perfect, guys, because these are all my scraps. I might do the stocking on one side and Santa on the other. I'm trying to decide. He's mighty fat there. Okay. Let's take one of my envelopes that match this, and I'm going to put it here so I can kind of get an idea of how much of that I want to cut out. And I want to get as much of Santa as I can. So I'm going to lay it across the back edge here. I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to draw where I want this one cut out. I think it's just a whole lot easier to do it this way. Okay? My little scissors have disappeared. There they are. Okay? So we're going to cut along this edge right here. Try to stay right on my pencil mark. Not that it's absolutely necessary, because I may have to trim it down once I put it on the envelope anyway, but we'll get the basic cut out. That'll give us a little more idea of what it's going to look like on the envelope. Now, I don't think I'm going to cut these little points out. I think I'm just going to make the edge straight. And in doing that, I may have to add a little bit of a layer of protection where the card's going to slide in and out of this. We'll decide once we get it on, because this is a little bit heavier brochure paper that I'm using. My whole strips here, I will use them for other places, so I'll put them back in my little box here. Okay, so, alright, so what I'm talking about on him is, if you see on the envelope, it has this little flap right here, okay? I think I'm going to not cut that out. I think I'm going to just put this piece here, and if I wanted some, because everything's going to slide right below it. See right there? I think we're just going to leave that. And I really, unfortunately, I just don't like the look, and I can't help it. It's just me. So I'm going to have to go back to my original thoughts on this. This is something you don't have to do. If the white don't bother you, I just don't like it. I'm going to have to line the inside a little bit. I can't stand it. So what I'm going to do on my envelope, I'm just going to come on one edge, or each edge right here, and cut a sliver off. Same thing on this side. What this will do is temporarily open my envelope. Now I'm going to glue it right back down after I'm through decorating my envelope. If you're in a hurry and you don't want to decorate your envelope, you don't have to. But me, I want my envelope decorated, and I didn't cut that near enough, so we're going to try it again to cut a whole sliver off. There we go. I think we got it that time. Right up to the edge. Okay, so now that opens my envelope here, and that opens my envelope, I hope, here. So I can decorate the insides now. So, let me get back to that. I want the Santa on the inside, I think, but we're going to have to try to get a little bit of decoration right in this area. Doesn't have to be anything specific. It can be a real simple, just background. So what I'm going to look at is just compare Santa to some of these background pages that we've already got. You got to remember, you got a background here too. You don't want it to clash. Okay. Kind of like that. That goes with the writing paper. I really am going to have to print some more stuff. I like the peppermint. Okay. So, let's go right here. We're going to have to measure this. Doesn't have to go all the way down either, guys, but because, you know, most of the flap is going to cover a lot of it. Okay, so we want one cut right here. Then we're going to slide it back up here. Slide it up. Find where the fold is. And your next cut will go right here. Okay, that's mine. I'm going to cover the whole thing. You don't have to. You only need to cover maybe a strip about that wide. And, but you can see through it. Well, you're going to cover some. You know, that's all we're going to do. We're just going to cut a little strip. All right, let's get this, get everything out of the way so I can cut without cutting into my stuff. First line is right here. up. And go back onto the board so you can see what I'm doing. Get the slivers out of the way. All right, let's go, guys. We're going to cut our first piece right here. We're going to have a lot of this left over, so we'll be able to line the other side too, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the same piece to line both sides to make it just go a little quicker. As we saw when we did it, we didn't need a whole lot, so I'm only going to cut 2 inches, I think. That's all I need to cover up the white. That's all I'm after, is to cover up the white. For no other purpose, just a little bit of aesthetics here. So I know I'm going to need 2 pieces. So we're going to grab another one, line it up, flip that over, it'll slide, and line it up on that line and cut another piece. Alright, so set these to a side for a minute. Alright, let's go ahead and glue these in. So this needs to be glued right here. And so this is what I'm talking about. See, now that's what I'm going to see instead of the white. Just so y'all, I hope you're understanding what I'm doing here. I'm hiding the envelope. And another thing, you could have just taken your stain that you're using and just stained it, or you could have used a stencil in here just to decorate and offset some of the stark whiteness, because my paper here is not stark white, so it just didn't look right to me. There again, it's my artist's eye that I'm referring this stuff with. You know, and you may see things with your eye differently than I see it. So, okay, we got that one done. On that side, that's done. Okay, now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing on this one. Because, remember, this is going to be... I gotta make sure this is going to flip. I didn't do that, did I? I got a little bit of a problem here. I have to go back and make sure. Yeah, that's another thing. Make sure you're going to be able to, because this is the way it's going to lay in your book. Make sure when you're gluing it down that you glued it to make, yeah, there you go, it's laying flat now. And I don't have really a crease in there, so it's okay. So this one's going to be on this side, and this flap's going to be closed. So we're going to want to see this little bit here. And make sure it closes. So I got to be careful about that next time. Just make sure everything closes and opens like it's supposed to. Hey, it's trial and error. You live and learn as you're doing these things. Because sometimes the paper actually seems to have a mind of its own, but it doesn't. It can be manipulated any way you want. That's the one thing about paper. It can be manipulated any way you want to manipulate it. Okay, let's close the flap up a little bit before we start putting it down to make sure we're going to get it closed. And then put this up here like this. And press it down like we need it. Okay, so that's that. Frame here. Alright, so now that's covered. So now what we got to do is cover this. And I'm going to do a little bit of something on that. And I may just, since we got some of this left over, that may be what we use to cover that. We'll decide that in a few minutes. Let's don't worry about that yet. Let's figure out what's going to go there. Santa's the first thing you see. So if we're going to cover the flap, we could. We have to trim some of it off anyway. Well, we're not going to trim that much off. Okay. Now, since I opened it already, I'm going to go to the full intricate cut on the thing. I think I want the stocking on there. Okay, so let's slide it just a little. And what I'm trying to do is measure the next one too, because it's going to be exactly the same size. So I'm going to try to line Santa up on the front and use him as my template to cut the next one out. And then I can decide between the two which one, because this flap's going to have to be decorated with something, or I'll have a white flap coming across, which is not going to make myself very happy. So we're going to try to do that. All right, so I think I've got the lines dark enough I can see them. So let me cut this one out also, since this is the other one we're going to use. And again, I try to cut right on top of my pencil mark. But if for some reason you don't quite get the pencil mark out of the way, then you can erase. That's why I use pencil and not pen. I have seen some people use a pen. I don't know how they get away with it. I couldn't. I would ruin myself if I used any pen. And I have done that by accident using a pen, and sure enough, ruined it. That's a nice little strip we're going to save. This strip here, I'm not going to save. That's another thing. You know, you can look at your stuff and go ahead and sort as you're going. Don't try to save everything, but the things that you can use for some kind of decoration somewhere, save it. And the rest we toss. And this, I don't really like for anything, so that's tossed. All right, now, got to find this line here. This is the tough one. Oh, yeah, if I put my glasses on, I can see it. Isn't that something? Who would have ever thought? Guys, I have had surgery 3 times on my eyes trying to correct cataracts. And it's been several years now, and I declare if I'm not having vision problems again. So I don't know. That's enough decoration. I'm saving that. Don't know if I'm having a different kind of eye problem or if the cataract has made its way back again. But I actually had a cataract grow back. All right, this one's going to go on the front. Right here. All right. And I'm going to have to, and I'm going to trim out. So here we go. What we're going to do is open this up. I'm going to tap it here and carefully hold it while I flip it over. Make sure I'm even on both sides here, and I moved it too much, so we're going to try it again. Flip it over, okay? All right, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to cut out or draw with my pencil the actual flap, and we're going to cut that out. Since we opened it up, I wasn't going to do that originally, but since I have had to open it up for my own little OCD problem, we're going to do this. And it really wouldn't hurt when you're cutting this out if you did it right on the line and cut it just a fraction inside. This one I'm going to cut right on. I'm going to show you one other thing I'm going to do. Another one of my quirks that just from experience I know that sometimes it presents a problem. So what we're going to do here is, right here on this inside is where you're going to be tucking between the envelope and this. You're going to be tucking stuff. So I'm going to straighten up this before we put it down. That's if I can find my cardstock. I got a piece over here on my left. Okay, so I'm going to cut a little piece of cardstock, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, perfect, anything like that. Just going to cut out a piece of cardstock like that, and I'm going to glue it right here and here, all the way across. And what that's going to do is just kind of strengthen up this edge, and that's all I'm after, is just to strengthen up that edge. So we're going to glue it down. You don't need this whole strip. And like I say, it doesn't have to be perfectly even or anything like that. We're just going to glue it down. Lord, I almost thought I had cut my envelope. Goodness, my brain don't want to act natural. Alright, so I've got that. So that's going to give me the little strength I need so that when stuff is being tucked in and out of this pocket here, it's not going to rip or tear. There again, remember, this is a journal that you are hopefully going to have for many years to come, and hopefully, if people are looking at it, it will be a family keepsake. So, see now, I've got a nice, strong edge here, okay? That's what the purpose of that was. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret. Excuse me a minute, my phone's ringing. Hold, please. Let's get back. Now, we got another possibility here. And I'm trying to decide. We're going to have a pocket here. We've got a pocket here. Okay, so we're not going to do it. You could actually make another pocket right here if you wanted it right here, but we're not going to. Let's just don't get that crazy. We don't need that many hidden writing spots, do we, guys? Let's just glue this little thing down. Make it so pretty. Keep it with the same. It's going to be a long video, guys, because I'm only about halfway through, so bear with me. I've had several people write when I said I wasn't going to do hour and a half videos, and I had several write me and tell me they didn't mind the longer videos, so I'm going to do it. And if it's too long for you, you could just cut it off at a certain point and then come back later and finish whatever you missed. Really, that's really the way you should do it, though, is watch a little bit and then cut your video off and do the step and then come back and do some more. Okay, I've got it lined on there as well as I could. So there we go. That's the first part. This is the part you'll see when you first come. Now, we've still got the flap to worry about. So what I'm wondering, do we want to go maybe with this background? I can print that. Or does that look odd? I think that's a little too much. I may have to go print. I can print this background. And I don't think I have a printed piece. Let me look through our little thing and see if we got a printed piece of just that scrap. That's my base background. So if you have the kit and you're looking for what I'm looking, it is the base background. I have got it here on this piece. I could cut it from that. Okay, but I'd really rather just have the whole piece. And I don't have it, so I'm going to stop for just a second and print me a piece. It won't take me but a second. Okay, I've got a background printing, so we'll go on. We're going to come back to this flap in a few minutes, but we've got this one worked out. Okay, so this is really ready to glue back down. Okay, but I want to, I want to take my inker. And with this ink pad, it's not, I got to find me Distress Oxide if I can in some kind of red, because I don't have that. And I really don't have a dark green. I got saved, but I don't have a nice dark green. And I am going to be doing several Christmas things, so I really need to. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of just do my edges. And I'm not letting a whole lot bleed over. Just kind of doing my edges. Just kind of running it up and down. Just a slight tint this way. And that just kind of hides the blue edges if there's any left in there. And I'm going to do this side too, right down this edge. So that gives me that sleek. That kind of just finishes it off. Alright, so we're going to glue this down right here and here. While that's printing, we'll go ahead and put this back together. This piece that we had undone. And keep it as thin and as close to that edge as you can. You don't want to lose much of your pocket space. Oh, I went out of string again. I'm sorry, guys. I am so sorry. Okay, there we go. All right, let's close it back up and seal it. Press on a little, and then right down it with my press. If you got any glue on the outside edge, go ahead and rub it with your hands because you don't want it to stick down to your base yet. And I got nice long fingernails, so I can actually use that as much as I can. So this pocket's ready. Let it dry. We're going to fix that flap in a minute. We're going to work on this back side now. So same thing. We're going to put this down. And we're going to carve it out. So we want it to be able to fold over. And I do think I'm going to have to cut a little bit off this edge here again. I'm going to look when I pull it up. Yeah, there's extra, but you know what? You go ahead and just do it this way first. Go ahead and just put it down and get your, get it lined up like you want it. Matter of fact, we can just cut it off on this side. Line it up this way. Okay, I've got it tapped down to the thing. I'm going to roll it back over. Make sure it's lining up on both sides. Make sure we got it okay. We got a little extra sticking out here all the way across. We're going to cut that off in a few minutes, but for right now, we're going to draw where we need to cut this off. Okay, I had it really straight on that edge. So, that's what we're going to trim out now. And again, I'm going to cut in just a tiny bit inside that pencil mark. And then the rest of it, I'm going to cut right on the pencil mark. Again, we're going to put a little strip here to protect it, to make this part right here a little stronger, so that as we're putting things in and out, it doesn't affect the edges. You can actually, guys, if you didn't want to do paper, you could actually add lace or other things to these edges, but keep in mind bulk. That's all I can tell you. Just always keep in mind how much bulk you're adding. Okay, I don't see no need to keep any of those pieces. And we cut some of Santa off, but not too much. He still looks like he's peeping out. I would have rather cut it more off the side, but I didn't. Doesn't matter. I don't think whatever we did was going to cut into that. But anyway, there's Santa. I'm going to glue it down after we put another strip of this on. So we're going to cut another strip. Like I said, they're not going to be perfect. No measuring. I'm just going to cut. And as you see how crooked I cut, not measuring. Thank goodness for that. Same thing again. Lay it aside a minute. We want to glue here, here, and here. Especially right here. And then this one. No, we didn't need it there. Sorry, we don't need it on those edges there because we're not going to glue that down yet. Okay. Right here. Oh, I'm sorry. I keep getting out screen again. Claire. I've got to stop doing that. Of course, I know you all know how to put glue on a piece of paper, though. Not that you have to watch that. Okay, strengthen up the pocket by adding the little strip right there. Right on the edge. We're trimming the excess off the sides that might hang over. A little extra glue off. We don't want to, well, you are going to do that down, but I don't want a lump there, so. And if you have glue, do this, guys, before it dries. Make sure you're using a white eraser, though, not a pink. Go in there and just kind of do this. And it'll usually, on the Berry Arts glue, just kind of roll it up in a little ball like that, and you just roll it off your paper, usually. All right, so let's go in and trim off this right here. I have another pair of scissors I use, but I think I carried them over to the house when I started cutting out all these pretty cards when I had the baby. So I got to go find my scissors. Okay, that's ready. We've got the extra strength added now that we needed for this edge. See, nice thick edge. Now we're going to glue the whole thing down. And the same boat here. I got a little extra out this edge here. If I have to trim it, I'll just put it all back down. I'm not going to fret over that. Alright, so let's get our glue on. All the way around. If there's anything that I don't like jutting out, if there's anything sticking out that don't look right off the edges, I'll trim it off. And if it opens the pocket up, we'll glue it back down. I am sometimes very meticulous about things, and I don't mean to be, but that's just me. I guess it has a lot to do with being a professional graphic artist for a major newspaper. They were kind of finicky and funny about some things, and I always have just really see like that sticking out a little bit. I don't like it. We're going to color that, so I'm not worried about that. But we're going to get this on now. So we've got most of it decorated. I'm not liking this edge here. I've got pieces sticking out of that edge. I've got a little piece sticking out here. I'm just going to try to trim it without cutting the envelope. Just a little piece of Santa sticking on that side. And then I've got just a little piece of the envelope or the other one sticking beyond the envelope on that side. And now we're going to stain it, and I think that'll cover whatever other white. Yep, that took care of whatever other white was shining. Got a little bit all the way across the top here. And that's not an envelope, so I'm going to trim that off. That was actually on the other thing. Okay. When I glue the envelopes down, we should be taking care of all that. See, we've got a little thickness here because of all these layers of paper. So remember, this is where the bulk starts coming in your papers. Everything slips shut like it's supposed to. All right. We got the flap there that we're going to decorate. The paper's through printing, so we'll get to it in just a second. I am going to come into this and just kind of do a little edge there. I'm going to come here. This dries so fast. I have got to get me some Distress Oxide in red. Okay. Okay, I've got that done. Just gave a slight hint of pink, red, whatever. Now we're ready to put this flap back down. So right along that edge, again guys, stick as close to the edge as you can. Both sides, you don't have to glue anything here, just two sides right here that we cut open. Remember, that was the original things. We cut them open so we could decorate them. It just makes decorating easier, and you don't have to do it. If you don't want to open it, you do not have to. You can just decorate the best you can without opening the sides. Me, this is easy to open the sides and do it, and then do it again if I have to. I want just a little more color along this edge here because I've got a little more white sticking out than I want. That looks good. Yep. Okay. So now this pocket here is done. Now we're going to do this flap. I did this flap, and I printed several pages of the background paper. So this is the next thing we're going to do. The flap is approximately 1.25 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 1.25 inches of this paper. Slide this over to the quarter. Mark on this side. And line this up here and here at the inch mark. And let's be careful with the fingers. Keep the blade right against the ruler. Bring it down. Pull that aside. We're going to save the cord. I went ahead and printed several pages in case we needed it for something else. Okay. Now this is going to glue here on this. Like this. And you're really not taking too much away. And I'm probably going to decorate it with something. Maybe a stitching. I may take one of my stitchings if I've got one cut out or sewn. Even if I don't, I'll find one. We're going to do our stitchings there. So that's going to glue down there. So go ahead and put the glue on our flap here. Okay. guys, underneath this is a strip. Don't pull it, because you do not want to glue this envelope down. And I have some alternative to that if we need it, and we'll go over it. What's some alternative we can do to this? We'll see it in just a minute. So I'm going to make sure that we're right along that edge. So just press it down. Okay. Press it, press it, press it. Okay, same thing. We're going to come in and cut that edge. It's a little tricky there, but we're going to get it. Got that cut out. Got the fussy cut along this edge here. Holding the scissors slanted if you're having problems cutting into your paper. That always helps if you're kind of coming underneath what it's glued to. Okay, so now that flap doesn't look quite as awkward to me. I like it. Got to make sure that we've got a good glue seal here. So you're going to pull it up and look at it. Make sure it's really glue sealed, really good there. Now, the alternative, if when you open this up, when you're looking at the book, you, again, don't like the white, you got some options. You can come in here like this, but you got that glue piece, and that worries me that somebody looking at your book may at some point do this number here, and then you've lost your pocket. Disastrous. So let's ward off a disaster by doing this right here. Let's extend this by adding a strip of this. And I'm going to try to match it up as closely as I can, and that's what I'm doing here, trying to match it, and I think I matched it right there. Not quite. Now let's see if it matches better going this way, and it's not wide enough. Do I have another piece of red? I don't. So we're going to have to figure out. I'm going to have to get it matched as closely as I can, so just bear with me a second. This is going to take me a second to see if I can find the right angle, and I just am not seeing it. I wish it was wider this way, but I have got a solution I can do there too now. Okay. Well, we're just going to have to do it the best we can this way. Or a solid piece. I don't know if I've got a solid piece of red I can put there. I need to put something there though. Just my instinct is saying somebody. Now on this one, what we did was let me open it up. On this one, what we did was put a journaling spot. But you see, I had a lot bigger piece here than I have here. But I did do a journaling spot. I really want to match this edge up as close as I can to that V. And I guess that's not too awkward looking. That's what we're going with, because you're not going to see it very long at a time. But I'm going to just go on in and glue. I'll open this up a little, and I lost my pen. I know it's under here. There it is. I've got my heat on in here, so things are drying a little faster. Yeah, I got my heat on. Can you believe it? Yeah. Okay, let's just glue that flat back down. We want to glue all this back down. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and just get it. Let's just get this piece on out of the way. We don't need that. And just double glue it. Okay. Now, we've got to be tricky here and just kind of line up that white space as well as we can. We need a little bit of space in between. And that's about as close as I can get it, but it's not horrible looking. I'm going to narrow it down like that. And then we're going to cut it off. First piece I'm going to cut off is right here. I'm just going to cut that with my blade easily. Get that off. Okay, and then scissors, I'm going to cut these two edges here. Okay, got that one off. This is a little awkward here. I have to turn my hand in such a way that I'm not familiar with. But you will find yourself doing all these kinds of things as you're crafting along. Okay, so that flap is done. That flap is done. Make sure it turns. Go ahead and make sure it's going to seal down like it's supposed to. That looks quite pretty. Now, we got an option here. Do we want to? I think we're going to tuck this one into something. So what we need is a little tag of some sort here. And I may want it just to kind of be, I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead. We've got the pocket here done. We got it. The color on the edges, so that pocket's ready to add one of our line papers. And like I said, I've printed several. And this pocket's done. When you open it up, you got a pocket here, and then you've got your pocket in here. Now, the question is, you got a pocket in here, and we've got a pocket right here underneath this flap. So remember, we did it two ways here. We've got two pockets here. Okay? Remember that. Now, I am not going to do a thumb grab on this because this flap's out. I'm not going to do that. This is going to be a totally hidden pocket here. We will actually put a piece of paper in there with maybe a pull on it so that it's obvious that there's something there, or it can just remain a totally hidden spot. But on this side, I am actually going to do the thumb punch right here. Okay, so 2 3/4, I think, is halfway. It's about the halfway mark. I'm really just going to guesstimate this one. 3 would be 6, so back it up just a little, and I'm thinking right about here is middle. Come on. Right about there's the middle. I'm using this little inch, and I'm going to try to cut all the way through. No, I'm not. I am not even going to attempt it. I'm going to do one side at a time. So we're going to put our thumb notch right here on this one. And then we're going to come on this side and just punch it again. Okay, so there's our thumb notch on both edges of that. Front and back. Okay, so we've got room for that. And we're going to lace this. And I wish we could put a thumb notch there, but we can't. It's just not feasible, I don't think, with the... I've never done it through a thing, so that's what I'm trying to decide. Is it going to matter? It's not going to matter, is it? Let's go into the center of this one, too. Let's see what the center of this one is. It's back it up just a little. Right about there should be the center. I'm going to try it. I've never put a thumb notch with the envelope flat, but let's, hey, you know, this is trial and error. If it don't work, we won't never do it again. But if it works, hey, we've got a new little trick here. And I'm not going to make it real deep, just enough indicator to know that there's something behind there. See, there's not a lot. And it doesn't show up, so not bad at all, guys. So we got a little bit of a thumb notch right there to indicate that there's another pocket. And that's just something I do. I like indicators of where pockets are. I think it makes it more fun, and because I have had journals that I totally missed hidden places because I didn't know they were there. Okay, and I'm going to try to do right there a little bit, right down the middle of this. Just sponge out the center a little. I really want more pinky there. Okay, so there we go. Now we got to get back to the fun stuff, and that is making the pocket in here and fixing the papers that's going to go inside. So we're going to start first with our sheet here. And another one of my OCD things is I want my lines where I can write on my lines the natural way. So I'm going to cut it and fold it so that that is the way it's going to go. Or I'm going to either make cards and do it with the cards, which I have done some beautiful cards. Let me grab them. I have done some, while the little man was here, I done a whole lot of cards, as you see. Got a whole lot of new Christmas stuff. Okay, so let's look and see how we want to do it. These, I purposely haven't put backs on yet. This says Merry and Bright. It can actually possibly fit in here, and I might have to cut just a tiny bit off. And it does look like that one's too wide. I know that one's too wide. And these don't fill up near as much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the red off these edges of this to make it smaller. I don't even need the thing to do that. I can just come right here. And I'm cutting the border off the cards I created. Off this particular one anyway. And I may just do the side borders first and then ink them up and see how it looks. The biggest thing is we want it to fit in here. And that's going to fit, but it's just a little too tight for me, guys, because I don't want it too tight, because that's how you start ripping your books open. So we're going to try to cut a little bit more off the stitching side without cutting into our stitches. Yeah, and that's a little spooky. So we're going to try, okay, that's the red tag, that ain't got nothing to do with it. So let's slide it over just a tiny bit more, keeping it lined up on that top. And let's cut a little bit more off so that we get a real smooth slide on this card when it goes into, because I've got to add something to this card. And I want it, and it's going to add a little bulk to it, so we want to make sure it's going to slide in here. We've got to check the height now. Oh, that's right, this is only a half pocket. I forgot. See, if it had been the whole pocket, I could have done it, but we only got a half pocket, so we really need... We need a long, narrow piece, which I just may have to make my own out of one of these. Oh, that's my rabbit. I really don't want to cut all that off, but we may have to. We may just have to cut that off. Okay, how far does it slide? Okay, let's put it in upside down and see how far it slides and what we're going to lose. Okay, so that's as far as it's going to slide. Let me just mark it just lightly a second and see what we're going to lose. And how it's going to look. Okay, this is what we're going to have on the card. Hey, that still don't look half bad. That don't look bad. So we're going to cut this card down. And let's start by cutting this red off, since we've had to cut off everything else with it. I sure don't want it sticking off one side. Again, just me being me. Eye appeal. I go by a lot of eye appeal. What appeals to my eye. Okay, so we've cut that off. Now we're going to cut it right there. Let's get it lined up. And then we're going to use the other piece on the other side, most probably. I'm not going to swear, but most probably we're going to use the other piece on the other side. Okay. Here. And cut this down like this. Okay, like that. That does not look bad. Okay, let's see. Water get too much on my desk, guys. Overlook me. Alright, so this is going to slide in this side. Like so. Perfectly. Okay, now I'm going to cut this. I'm going to put this on the back. So we want to cut this piece right here. And maybe a little bit inside that, okay? So let's make a card here, up here for a minute. I have got to get this mess out of my way. I cannot work with this junk on top of me. I'm sorry. All right, let's go. I want to cut that in just a tiny bit beyond that line. Line it up on that edge there. Where's my line? There's my line. So I want to come in just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit inside that pencil mark. So that we've got a little space and it don't cut out the edge because we are just barely fitting this in. Okay, we're going to cut this down. I think this is a double-sided piece. I hope it is, and it is. Okay, this is going to be one of our hidden spots. So, the first piece, we're going to fold it a little inside of this. So, right about there. And this is a trick I learned from Kate Mower. If you want it to nestle, it has to be a little bit inside each time. And let's see if we can fold it. Use this whole piece. I would like to have this all attached to this so that when you do it, it folds completely out. So far, this will be the last fold you're going to be able to get, and it should be exactly the same as this. Yes, that's it. So we're not going to be able to use that last piece of the fold. Okay? Okay, all right, so I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut that last little piece off because if we try to fold again, it's going to get too wide. We don't want it to jut out from behind our card because we've got our card fitting just nicely inside that pocket. Now you may ask, what are you doing then? Then what I'm going to do now is glue all over the back of this because I did not back this with any backing. Get it really good on my stitching so we know that stitching won't never come up. Glue, 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 glue. Tight, tight, tight. Really close to the edges. Okay, and then we're going to glue this piece down. Right onto that. Make sure that it's completely on it. Like that. Press down. Okay, there you go. Okay, now, I got a little tiny bit peeping. Got to trim it, guys, because we did cut this just where it would slide in. So, like I say, slant your scissors and cut inward. Okay, that doesn't hurt the fold or anything. It just... Okay, so what you're going to end up with here, in this little pocket, is your card. We're going to stain it, of course. Make sure it still fits. Let's nestle it down in. Nestled in. When you pull it out, you have a writing space on that card, okay? Really, really, really unique little writing spot. Okay, I'm going to really press those folds down. And this is to help me eliminate bulk. Help it slide into the pocket a lot better. And I'm pressing really hard. You can see my face, you would see I'm really pressing hard, but I've got a nice flat press there. And it folds out. Okay, guys? That was a fun little trick we just did. Okay. It's a journal, and we want as much journaling space as we can get. So that's 1/2 of that hidden pocket space that we've now got covered. Slide it in. That's done. That's it. How cute, right? Cute, cute. Really cute. All right. So we got that one. Now we want to get the other half. The Miriam Bright. And I like it. I don't mind that it's partially cut off. So we're going to trim the red off this one. We're going to make sure that it can slide in here easily. We want to slide, yeah, that slides easily. And we're going to do the same little trick again. We're going to lay our paper down. We're going to go here with this. This is where our pencil mark's going. And we want it right on that line, all the way up and down. Take the ruler, cut in just inside, just barely, even the same scenario here, if you have to turn your blade inward a little. Okay. Same scenario again. We're going to match it up here. And our first fold is going to be inside a little, right about there. So I'm going to pinch it. And that's where my first fold is going to be, right where I pinched it, I guess. I can see myself here. There we go. That's my first fold. And I'm going to do another little bit of a fold, and then I'm going to leave just a tiny bit of space beyond that fold. Make sure you line it up on both sides. This way, it's just fitting really well into the pocket without it curling up or bulking on you. And that's what you do not want. You don't want it to curl or bulk on you. All right, we've got to make sure before we do anything else that folds perfect. Perfect fold. My goodness, that worked out well. Thank you, Lord. Worked out very well. Press it. And you guessed it, we're going to have another journaling spot on the other side. Like I said, just plain piece of notebook paper works fine if that's what you want to use, or stationery. Or again, you can go get the 3-leaf binder paper, and you can actually run that through your printer and print some kind of design on it like I've done with this one. I like kind of keeping the theme on my books. It's just really important to me when I'm doing books to kind of stick with the same color theme all the way through. But the lines are light, and it still gives a person plenty of lines to keep things straight. And the color just works well with this particular journal. Okay, so make sure that we're at this bottom fold, because it's looking to me like it's not wanting to. Might be a little too large. If it is, we'll cut the top part off. But it's not. It's just my eyes playing tricks on me as usual. Okay, so we're going to press down. Okay, we're going to ink it up. Again, ink all the way around. Ink our card. Again, we've got a nice writing spot here. We've got a little bit of white showing right there, so I cut it a little too narrow. So guess what? I'll trim it off. Remember, cutting kind of inside. There you go. And we've got our other one done. So, there you go. So now, there's our 2 hidden spots. Now, the only thing I do now is put cards in here, and do a pocket here. Okay, so let me grab those cards that I've already done. And I'm even doing some more. So we want a card that's going to fit inside. Okay, there's one. Oh, it's not too big. I love the peppermint candle. Oh, yeah, that's... Oh, I think we're going to put that underneath, and that's all we're going to put. This is one that we did. Remember the tag? I told you we were going to do some of these. It's already a tag and a tag, so that's what I'm going to use for my underneath pocket. Yeah, I'm just going to put this one here. So we've got it. Let's do it. And I'm trying to think, do I want to make another tag? Another tag? Yep. All right. For right now, I'm going to glue it this way, just out of curiosity. I may not have a tag small enough to slide in this background, but I'm only going to do these 3 sides here. Right here, here, and here, in case I want to make another pocket. I want to make sure this stays underneath, so I need to stay beyond this mark. I'm going to mark this with my pencil. So I've got to stay beyond that, and I can erase that in just a few minutes. But we need to stay beyond that and above the 2. And I kind of want to bring this lower, because I think I am going to... I'm going to eyeball this, make sure it's straight, and that's just as crooked as it can be. So let's slide it. Using the base of these 2 as my lineup. Okay, there's that. Okay, and this slides into that pocket. And let's see what else we got. That one can go there. Or do we have a tag? It's narrow enough. It's a different candle. It's not. Oh. That's a little too wide, but we can actually cut a little bit off that. But staying with the candy design, I think might be the smarter thing to do. So, the way I can make this look like a tag instead. Yep, we want this to stay glued. Okay, I'm going to make this like a tag. Like this. Oh, yeah, we can do it this way. Just lay that on there. And I'm just going to... Sorry, I got to center this. Okay, we're going to just cut it right there. And we're going to cut it right there. Yeah, now it looks like a tag. Okay? And I'm not going to put the hole in it. Yeah, I am. I started saying I'm not going to put a bow on, but I am. If I can find some, I've got some red ribbon over there. So let's go with a little bit bigger punch. Let's get it right about middle way. Punch the hole. I've got ribbon right here. I'm going to try to tie a bow, guys. Okay. Really reasonable ribbon again. That's what I'm using. Okay, just like I'm tying a regular shoe bow. Okay. Now, if you want, you can do it just like that and let this ribbon hang. I'm going to try to tie a bow. Make no promises. I can't stand tying bows on video because it's so difficult to tie them without getting my head all in it. But we're going to try. I'm going to try. Okay, so now I've got my bow started. I do want my tags, my tails of my bow to go up. Okay, now I start pulling and pulling so that I get my wings of my bow the same. Now I'm having to pull tight and it made them really long, but I hold my finger there and I pull again. And then I'm going to pull this side and try to get them about the same size. So there's my bow. I'm going to pull here and pull here. I'm going to come up and stick my needle right up under and squirt glue. And what that's going to do is hold that bow in place. And now that I got my tags kind of going up like that, I'm going to cut me just a little angle here on one side. And a little angle on the other, about the same height. And that was a little bit longer, so let's look at it again and cut this one just a tiny bit more. There we go. Alright, so that one's going to go in the back behind that one. Let me make sure it's going to go all the way down. It doesn't have to. It can stick up a little. Alright, there you go. It's sticking up behind it. There's a little bit of bulk there. I'm going to press down just like this. And that's flattening that bow tie there. Take a little bit of that bulk out. I'm going to try to slide it down just a little more. Okay, guys? There you go. So that pocket there is done. That part. So the only thing we got left to do is what? This one, right? And this. So all we got to do now is just find some cards that we want to put in. We're going to do the same thing on the back. So we're going to do the same thing. Find another piece of my writing paper. Now this one's not double-sided, but it doesn't matter because we're going to glue it down. But I'm going to do the same thing on my backs here. I'm going to make writing spaces. So I'm going to cut this one. It's right on a line, it looked like to me. Right here on that line. So this is going to be a little easier to cut because I can actually just cut this all the way across. And I have probably several cards this size. We are almost to the bottom of this. Alright, slide that aside a minute. Okay, looking at the card this way, I want my lines going this way. So we're going to glue it on this way. Cut it right here. I want it almost to the complete edge. Put it on the edge here, right there in that corner, right on that line. Ruler and blade. This is, again, made out of standard copy paper, so it's thin. Not adding a lot of bulk. Again, glue is drying because of the heater in here. Again, along the edge. Wouldn't hurt to put a little bit of extra on the stitching. Just to secure it really tight, so it won't unravel at some point. Glue the whole back. Glue the whole back. And then we're going to add our writing space to this. Line it up. Get it up. Tap. Get it lined up pretty. Okay, I see a little corner sticking up here, so we're going to push down a little more. Alright, don't be oddball here. Might be that the card's not even, so we can cut that. Let's just go with it. We'll trim it up. Okay, so there's my writing spot. I see a little bit of white peeking there. Nothing the ink wouldn't hurt, but it's crooked, so let's just straighten it out. It wouldn't much, just a tiny bit. Look at it this way, and I've got a little bit of white coming above it here, so we're going to trim it. And a little bit of white right here on this bottom, so we're going to trim it. And we're going to do our normal little dusting of red along these edges. See, see the white? That's really all I'm trying to do is get rid of that white on that edge. Nothing more. Now, if you want a little bit of the pink on the back, then you need to just kind of dust across there like that. Okay, now there's another writing spot to go in one of these. You can go 1, 2, or 3. I think we're going to go 2 maybe. There's 1. Really all you need is 1, but we can do 1 or 2. You know, because if you're giving this to somebody, they're going to be adding their own stuff to it most likely. Make sure the card's not where it won't flip. You can do the pretty poinsettia. It's just simple. We'll do that one in here after we put the writing paper on the back of it. Let's see if we made it big enough. It's not. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it the same size as the other card. Easy enough. Cutting some of it off. No big deal again. Right there. Right there. We want my paper lines going this way. Cutting it. The slice out of the way. We want more of this design, so we're going to go from the bottom area. And I'll tell you another little tip, just in case. Anytime you're gluing anything to anything else, you always have the option of only gluing the 3 sides and making an additional pocket. Now, I hope you understood what I just said, and if you didn't, we may represent it at some point. But what I said was, anytime you're gluing something to something else, you always have the option of making this a pocket, this part right here. We're not doing it with this because we've got so many pockets and we've added so much bulk to this already. Okay, so now I can either take a piece of ribbon or something, which I think is what we're going to do. I think we're just going to take a piece of ribbon and glue it right there and just make that pretty. Instead of cutting off the design, we're going to glue a piece of ribbon there. Is that okay with everybody? Okay, Fabri-Tac is my go-to when I'm doing ribbon. This is a new bottle, so it's flowing nicely. I had an old bottle earlier that just wouldn't hardly flow, but I am leaving it kind of tilted over on my other desk. Okay, let's put this down, utilizing it as close to the edge as we can. And then pressing down. My little roller. This is what I use to roll ribbon down, guys. And my husband found this at Dollar Tree. I don't know, I think it was in the makeup section. I don't know why I would be in the makeup section, what it's for, but anyway, it works really great in pressing my ribbon down. Okay. Let's see. Now we're going to snip it. Oh, how cute that turned out. Have a snippet left. Do we want to use it on the front or anywhere? I kind of like that, just as an extra decoration, and I might put a piece of word art in there, but anyway, we'll decide on that later. When I finally finish up the book, I will always go in and maybe add a few extra things, and I'll show you that when we do the flip through. Alright, same here. I'm just after covering the white. That's all I'm after on these edges, is just covering the white, and it plays heck on my my sponges. It is rough, but that's why I buy extra sponges all the time. Okay, this card is done, and it may be a little too big. I hadn't thought about that. No, it's perfect, guys. It's perfect. So we've got 2 cards inside this one, and that pocket's done. Now we've got to open this one up, and I think I'm only going to put 1 card in there. I hope I can find something cute. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do 2. I'm going to do Santa and Miss Santa and Mr. Santa. Yeah, Miss Claus and Mr. Claus. All right. Do we want to do writing papers on these? I don't want to cut any of it off. So, I may check and see if this other piece is big enough. And it is! Yay! So, we're going to cut it at this line right here, so I'll be able to cut it straight across again, and then we're going to trim it right here on that mark. All right, let's lay them aside a second. Let's get this in this corner, and then I'll cut the excess off the top in just a second. Line it up straight. Okay, we need to do 1 more. I think they're exactly the same size, so let's cut 1 more while we're at it. And I don't have to do it again. Get this done, and then we can glue, and then that's the end of this project for now. I hear somebody in my front area. If I have to pop off for a second, don't be surprised. Because people around here do not pay attention to my studio light being on. I have a red light right out front showing I'm recording, but they will still walk right in. But that's okay. We forgive them, right? Alright, so it was this line right here that we want to cut off. And these are ready to glue now. So, let's glue our lines, get our cards ready. This really matches the fact that I've got Santa and Mr. Claus and Miss Claus's portraits. Really matches the fact that Santa's on the inside, on the other side of the envelope. So, and then I got to make sure I've got something in every pocket, because sometimes I miss pockets. Let's do one at a time. One at a time. I didn't mean to throw my glue. I don't normally do that. Apologize. I'm always apologizing, aren't I? That's okay. I know that my heart's in it. I really want the videos to be as smooth as possible, and sometimes they're just not. But then crafting's not always smooth. So at least the videos are very honest about how things go sometimes. And that's what we want. Don't want anybody fooled at all. Okay, guys. I'm going to finish this off right here. And then, as soon as we get this done and make sure that we've got writing spaces in every pocket that we created in this little insert, we will actually start planning the next one, and I'll be back with you shortly on the next one. The next one we're going to do would be possibly in the second of the sunny summer days inserts. Okay, but let's go ahead and ink this up, because I got a little bit of white there showing, and this ink just does not stay wet long. And I think that's the next thing I'm doing is going right on Amazon and order me some red Tim Holtz. Okay, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Adding the lighting space. Miss Falls is done. Let's get Santa done. Guys, isn't this cool? Isn't it really neat, all the little hidden lighting spaces? Kathy Mower, she just amazed me, and it's the first, I've been doing this 5 years, and it's the first time I happened onto one of her videos. She is just awesome with this stuff. She just gave me so many ideas, and so, Kathy, thank you so much, or excuse me, Kate Mower. Thank you so much for the inspiration, because it's just really nice. So there you go. You've got your 2 writing space cards in this side of your envelope. This one was really fun. Now, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. It's right much bulk. There's right much bulk in this. Oh, we have got one more thing to do. We've got to fix this so it flaps shut. And what we want is one more little card, just a small one. I really don't want to cover up too much of my stocking. But I want a little flap. You know what? I think I'm going to go with this. I think I'm just going to cut me a strip of this. Match it up as best I can. You see that right there where I'm matching it up? It's not going to be that noticeable. And I'm just going to cut a tiny little strip right here. And I'm going to show you why I'm cutting a strip. Obviously, you really do not have to do this. You could really do it as a circle too, or a half circle. I'm going to go with the strip, and I'm kind of keeping it in the matching strip that matches that background so that it's not boom in your face, but it has a purpose. This really does have a purpose, a strip. We're going to glue it about right there, okay? And we're only going to glue a very small piece of it right here. This is a tuck. This is going to be so that your envelope flap can tuck under it. That kind of keeps it where, there you go. I'm not going to put no red ink around it, nothing like that. I'm just going to put it here, and I'm going to keep pressing till this glue dries good, because I want to make sure it's going to work. But that's what this is for. It's so that when you're going to pull this up a little bit and tuck that in, so that your envelope stays closed. Now, we could have, if I didn't have such an intricate thing, we could have used one of these, like we did this other one. Let's go back to the original one, so I can show you. Let me go back to the original one, so I can show you. Now, I've just made a simple tuck here, okay? That's just to keep the envelope down, guys. That's all that's for, just a little tuck. That's just to keep it neat and clean. On this one, when we did it, we actually did a corner tuck here, or just a tuck spot, and then the tag is holding the flap down on this one. But I didn't have an intricate design like I do with the Christmas one. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your design. If you're going to want another tag in here, you don't want to use something that would look funny if it got cut off. Okay, so that's it. So let's double check before we glue it into our book. All right, we've got our base. We have our flap attached to the back of that. My card is kind of sticking out on the back there, so let's kind of look and see if we need to rework that any. No, we're not going to. It's not hurting. But we've got our writing spot here on the side with our fold out. Lots of writing space on that one. Who would ever guess? That's so cute. Okay. Tuck that one back in, nice and neat. On this side, same thing. We've got our thumb pull, our writing space that pulls out. So that's that one. So that spot is covered. So we're covered there. Okay. We've got our tuck here with our 2 cards here. Tuck that down. Flip it open in the book. We've got our 2 cards here and here, with writing space on the back. So that's all done there. Make sure again that they're away from that fold line. You don't want them to fold on and curl. Then we've got another pocket here. with a sliding tag here. We didn't put writing space on the back of it, and we're going to real quickly go grab a new sheet of paper because we used up all the other one. Okay. This is double-sided, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to see one side of it. Okay, we need to cut this one right about here. Okay, so give me a second. See, this is why I like to double check before I cut the video off. Okay, and anywhere we can make writing space, that's what we want to do. We want writing space. It's a journal. It's a journal. It's a journal. I can't say it enough. It's a journal, and in a journal, you write. So, there's that. A little too wide, so we're going to narrow it. I cut it just a little too wide, so we're going to do it one more time. Cut just another sliver off. Slither. Guys, I try to talk plain, but I can't because sometimes I cannot. For reasons of cancer scarring, I have lost all my teeth at times, and I cannot wear artificial teeth sometimes because my gums swell. I don't like telling you my life history, but I want you to know that that is sometimes a problem with my speech. I did have a wonderful person comment about they loved hearing my voice, which really made me feel good because I have always been so disturbed. My voice is not the voice of the NanaKaye that used to be before cancer. And I've always been real hesitant to even do these videos because I felt my voice was raspy and terrible. And this person said I reminded them of their grandmother, which makes me feel good because I am a grandmother and a great-grandmother. And I love my kids. And just knowing that I display that aurora, to people is wonderful because I love being a grandma. Now, guys, I am not going to cut that piece of paper that I just did. I think you see what we're doing here. I was just going to glue a piece, but I just thought, you know what the heck, I'm just going to fold it over, and it's going to be a nice writing space here. It gives them, it's on the back of this card, and when they flip it over, they got plenty of writing space, and it'll still tuck right down into here with no problem. And I don't think we've got writing space in the back of this, and on me, I've already done that. So this should have been done before we done this, but you know what? We're going to cut it off a little bit and do the same thing here. We're going to trim this right about here. Trim this right about here and right there. We're almost done, guys, and my husband's wanting to saw, but he was kind enough to come over here and ask me before he started, and I really appreciate it because it annoys me. But listen, it annoys me because with the sawing, but bless his heart, he is making my house so beautiful. I've got to hush about it. He has made me on the outside of my home a fire escape from the upstairs. I wouldn't even go upstairs because I can't move rapidly anymore. So I wouldn't even go upstairs to my bedroom anymore. So I've made my bedroom down in our extended part of our living room. Which I love it down there because if anybody comes in and I'm taking a nap, it wakes me up and I know they're there and I get up. But anyway, let's go beyond that. He's made me a princess staircase. It is a spiral metal staircase. He's put it on the outside of the walk-in closet from the upstairs with an exterior door. You don't see it most of the time because, like I said, it's in the walk-in closet, but it's there as a fire escape, but on the outside it's just the most beautiful spiral staircase coming from the upstairs of my home. I just love, my husband is just amazing when it comes to building. He has built just about our whole house itself from scratch. We had a beach house. Our house is up on 13-foot pilings, and we're not at the beach. We're in the middle of a cornfield, really, practically. But he's taken the house, and where the pilings were, he added a concrete slab and has made it downstairs. So he just totally built the house himself. And so I got to quit being upset when he wants to saw and do things like that. All right, we're going to go ahead and attach this in, and notice that I left the top part undone. Not going to hurt a thing. We're going to take the red ink and we're going to smear where we're not actually putting this, and we've got another fold out here. This worked out so well. You guys, there are so many hidden writing spots in this one little insert. It's just amazing to me how this has turned out. I hope you like it. We're almost finishing up. I'm going to do one, like I say, with a different twist to each one of the 3 signatures. There again, there's that. Let's just come in here like this. And I mean, if I really wanted to get real intricate, I could actually put another piece of ribbon here. But I'm not. I'm just going to color this one. I mean, it is paper. And we're just going to go around this one. But anyway, that turned out cute. You could round the corners if you wanted to. I'm not going to. Just fits in this spot right here, giving us another writing space. And it's ready to go inside of our signature. Now I've got to move everything again and find the signature. I make such a mess when I'm crafting, but that's all right. I'll clean it up and we'll start again. We decided to put it on this page, okay, and because it's going to open out this way, I'm trying to decide which I want to do because I got a little possibility here. On the other one here, let's go back to this one. Let's compare the two. On the other one, on the inside here, I made another pull-out spot. On this one, not going to do it. I've got so many pull-out spots on this one. We're just going to come right here to the edge, and we're just going to glue this down. Or we're going to go this way and make sure that the stitching shows on that side and glue it. So let me think. We're so thick, I think I want to do it this way. I think I want to do it this way. So I'm going to pull this out for just a minute, guys. Lay this aside so we don't get out of order. We're going to put it right on the edge. The reason being, it's so thick, I don't want it to tear this really delicate paper underneath. So, on this one, we're not going to do a pocket, but you could. Remember, you could put a pocket right here if you wanted to. You would just glue these 3 sides. And I'm going to do that because I am apt to change my mind 100 times. I am still going to leave the space open. I'm just not going to notch out anything. And we're going to see how tight it glues. And I might make it a little wider here and here, but you don't need so much, even if you just put something in it. I want it to be nice and solid. Okay. Whoops. Hold on tight to it. Let's go from corner, even over the stitching. Yes, I covered the stitching on this, but it's not going to hurt. You've got so much beautiful stuff here. And you can always go back and purchase some stitchings and put stitchings. I can put a stitch right back there. Okay, just in case I have a tendency to change my mind and want to stick something under there, I have left it open. I just want to see how well the paper functions with it like that. I do have a little bit of white sticking up on this side. I need to trim off, but I've got to get it where I can hold it and trim it at the same time. Okay. And it is not wanting to cooperate, but we're gonna get it. And if it curls a little at the beginning, I can press it back down. But this is very thin paper that I used originally. Okay, let's go. Okay, we got it. We trimmed it off. Okay, it looks nice. So remember, guys, there is a spot to put a big piece of, you know what? There is, I probably will put this writing paper in there, just fold it up nicely, put it in there. But you've got a big pocket right here, too. All right, let's put this journal back together so that we don't lose it. And we have our spot in there, and there it is, the pocket flip. That envelope pocket flip is what we're calling this, guys, or double envelope pocket flip, okay? It's a lot of bulk though that got added to this. As you see, that flip right there opened it up that much. That's a lot there. That's okay. It's ready to go. So this is NanaKaye signing off. I hope you watch this video, follow through, do 2 or 3 of them. These are the thing about this one, the most unique thing about this particular project is the fact that you can do these on the side and add them to your journal later, or add them or make them ahead as a mass production type thing. Make a bunch of them in different themes, and then you'll have them that you just glue into your book. So, have a great rest of your weekend. We'll be back Monday with another video. This is NanaKaye signing off, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.